You are me and I was you. You think I'm glaring, but it's not true. Even if you just appeared, you've always been a piece of me. Same cloth, same blood, same tree, same feet, stomping rhythm with our stories. Let me bubble wrap you, hide you from his eyes. I just wanna get you through these dangerous times. Pull you through the fire to the other side. You look like a fresh baked pie. Their tongues are hanging out. Never forget that your machine gun is your mouth. The little sister, don't you doubt. Oh, I know you hate it when I tell you what to do, but it's only because I worry they'll steal the light from you. Just let me bubble wrap you, hide you from his eyes. It gets me twisted up inside to see you as a prize. You look like a fresh baked pie. Their tongues are hanging out. Never forget that your machine gun is your mouth. The little sister, don't you doubt. Oh, oh, fresh baked pie. Oh, fresh baked pie. Oh, fresh baked pie. Oh, fresh baked pie. You look like a fresh baked pie. Their tongues are hanging out. Never forget that your machine gun is your mouth. The little sister, don't you doubt. Oh, fresh baked pie. Fresh baked pie. Fresh baked, fresh baked. Fresh baked
If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment about the episode. And if you're watching on Spotify or listening on a traditional podcast platform, please follow, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review if you would be so kind. Thank you. Welcome to the Way to Know You podcast, Season 4, Episode 37. My name is Nick Rounds, and I will be your host. My next guest is a return guest who, since our last interview, has recorded and released her second full-length album, Deathdreams. Say it if you mean it, but I think this album is the simple truth of what happens when some blood perfume gets into your pie. The album is macabre and filled with sour sorrow, but don't feel bad. There's happy songs too. Fight me if you think otherwise, but it doesn't take 4 robots and an evil scientist to know that this album is epic. Being all right with being a better musician, my guest struck a lonely chord by making this album by herself. A jigsaw puzzle that took many hands to put together, but always coming back to being all right. But enough words for me. Let's talk to our guest one-to-one and learn more about the bad little seed that is Death Dreams. Emily Whitehurst. Wait, I know you. How are you today?
I am great, especially after hearing that intro.
Got you again.
It did not disappoint.
Always got to bring the A game.
I love that I struck a lonely chord by writing the album alone. That is very true.
Well, let's start there. Let's talk about, this is your first full-length album that you wrote by yourself, and it's an incredible accomplishment. So how do you feel being on the other end of that?
I feel so good about it. So good. There was a lot of self-doubt and stress and, questioning whether it was going to be good and all of that. So the fact that I did it, I finished it, recorded it, and I feel like it turned out great. It turned out so much better than I could have imagined. So I feel wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's great. Even the album art alone, I didn't realize that you'd actually taken this photo. Yeah, it's really, I would expect this to be like a professional photo, but it's really awesome that you did this. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was, that's that's why I used it, because I was just like, wow. Nature did it. Nature did it for me by presenting itself to me in the sky that way. It was so cool.
Was it just like a random ominous day that just had the epic sunset? Yeah.
And I just randomly was outside. It's just right outside my house. I was in my driveway. What is happening right now in the sky? This is so crazy. And I took a handful of photos and always remembered them and how amazing that view was of crazy, just the way that the clouds were. I couldn't believe how they were so you know what else? I did not do anything with the colors on that. There's no way for me to, put that in the liner notes or anything, but I did not adjust those colors. So it's it was this glowing, orange, pink to the one side, and then just going into this crazy, ominous cloud formation on the other side. It was insane.
Yeah, it's very picturesque. Not to make it not to state the obvious, but it's very stunning.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad you like it.
So the album's called Death Dreams, and starting there, you actually shared one of your death dreams the last time you were on the podcast. You talked about your experience of dying in a car crash and then thinking about Doug, which ended up becoming the song I'll Picture You. And you had 2 other death dreams. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, the other one that became a song was Lady Neptune. I had a dream that this was definitely one of the most bizarre dreams that I've ever had, only because of how much it impacted me and how vibrant it was. Oftentimes I don't even remember my own dreams. So
same here. Yeah, I probably have lucid dreams.
Yeah. Wait, you rarely have lucid dreams? Is that what you said?
Oh, I haven't really had dreams I used to have lucid dreams all the time when I was a kid. I had weirdly specific ones, like bowling alley nightmares of where the pins would get bigger and would fall on me and I get really scared of it. Or just random lucid dreams. But then I really haven't had a dream since October 12th, 2001.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So specific.
Yeah. That's the last time I've had a vivid dream was that specific day. So, yeah.
It must have been pretty vivid for you to remember. I don't remember the date of mine.
It was pretty vivid. I think it just so happened. Well, the story is what happened is that I had a dream about somebody that I'd never met before, and then I met them the next day, and that's why.
Oh, Okay.
So
So the
like,
date actually stuck out to you.
yeah, I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, where like when you see somebody in your dream that you don't necessarily see their face per se, but you recognize that it's them. And
Uh-huh.
so that's kind of what happened, is that I recognized a person even though I had never met them before, and that I had like that weird I know you kind of vibe for it. And then the next day I went to an event and I met somebody and I was like, it's that person. Like it
Oh,
was
how
that
weird.
person from the dream. And so it was kind of a surreal experience for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, my dream was not, it did not have any sort of date attached to it or any sort of prediction. Hopefully this is not a prediction.
Yes.
In any
I agree with that very much so.
so my Lady Neptune dream was I was I found myself in the middle of this battlefield, like this active battle where people were in hand-to-hand combat.
Like
And
a Game of Thrones setup almost.
kind of, yeah. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what um what I don't know what types of weapons were being used or anything. I just know people were on the ground fighting each other. And and it was really upsetting, and I somehow, you know how sometimes in dreams you're like you said, like you see someone and you can't see their face, but you know in the dream who they are, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're in a place that is your house, but it doesn't look anything like your house, and in the dream you know it's your house. Um, I had this knowledge that I could stop this battle if I just killed myself, if I drowned myself, and, specifically, not
Right.
just kill yourself, but drown myself in something. And, there was a pond right there because I was, like, out in nature. And, so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna walk into this pond." And so I walked into the pond, and then I sort of willed myself to just breathe like I was breathing normally, even though I was underwater. And I felt my lungs fill up, and it was really cold. And then basically I died, and then I emerged from this pond as some sort of being that was more powerful. And the whole thing is very I mean, dreams are outlandish. I was gonna say it was very outlandish, but for me, they're not usually interestingly, uh, sensical,
Right.
if that's the right way to say that. Like, they'll be weird, but they'll be very disjointed. But this is, like, really weird, but also an actual story.
Right. Very
Um,
specific. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I came out of the pond, and then I came up with the title after the whole song was recorded, but I feel like I was Lady Neptune in this situation. And I stopped the battle, and the end. Happy story.
So awesome. And then what was there was another one that didn't actually make it to the album, but what was that other
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, there was a third one where I was in a house at nighttime, and was looking out the window and saw a meteor come and hit the ground, like a very large meteor hit the earth very far away.
Mm,
And I was there with Doug, my husband, and we just looked at each other like, "Oh, this is like it. This is it." That was what's going to happen now, we don't know, but like we could feel the earth like starting to spin and starting to unnaturally move. And then we felt gravity leaving.
wow.
And then we were like floating, and we were looking at each other like, wow, well, this is it. This is where so I guess technically in that one, I didn't actually I am dead now. It wasn't none of them were really like that. Like you would think when you have a dream that you're dying. Or I guess oftentimes you would wake right when you're about to die, which I guess is kind of what happened here.
Yeah. All three of them are moments of peril or moments of extreme, well, just extreme in general situations. But that one's pretty surreal for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And it similarly had a feel of like the theme that surprised me the most about the three dreams was that in none of them was I like scared. In all of them I was like, I'm dying. I'm about to die, or I'm dying right now. I'm going to drown myself. And in none of them was I like stressed out about that or concerned or worried or scared in any way, which was kind of really awesome. And I do hope is what it will really be like. I hope that whenever my death comes to me, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a hope, is that death is a release and it's comforting, and not so much that it's, a painful thing, but I mean,
Yeah.
nobody can control how they go, but
Exactly.
one can only hope. So
yeah.
when your ticket is punched finally.
Yeah. It's weird to like have had these like half experiences of it in a way,
Yeah. Yeah, because your body's going through the emotions of it, of actually trying to accept your fate, or just accept like what's happening. So yeah, I can only imagine, like, I mean, it's a cathartic experience of like just letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Being conscious and being alive and existing in general is a surreal experience, and making art, and it seems to be the way through, which is something you've done to try to make sense of all of this. But yeah. So going back to the fact that this is an album that you made by yourself, and which is a really extremely daunting task, but you pulled it off. So congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you learn most about yourself and your abilities through this process?
What did I learn most? Well, I mean, I feel like what I learned most was kind of what I already knew, which was that I was capable of doing it. There's a bigger part of me, like a majority of me felt like I could not do this. And there was just a little part of me that was like, yes, you can. You totally have the experience and knowledge and, energy and resources to do this. And so basically that part of me ended up being right. And the rest of me learned that it was true.
That's hilarious.
I also learned, I mean, in a more concrete, tangible way, I also learned that going I had always wanted to take some dedicated time away from home to try songwriting, and I never did it. I never fully like committed. Like maybe I would do one day, like, oh, I'm going to be in this place, I might as well take a day and work on songwriting or whatever. But I finally was like, okay, I'm going to rent an Airbnb trailer out in the country for like 4 nights or 5. I can't remember how many. I think it was 4 nights. It was probably 5 nights, and had 4 full days with just I brought some equipment and notebooks and that was it, and food. And I just like stayed there and created a little writing routine for myself. And I came away from that with more songs, completed than I had written in the previous years, like however many years. I got really a lot more done there than I had hoped I would. So that was a really great thing to learn. So I'll definitely be doing that again.
That's awesome. What songs did you ended up like starting or finishing or kind of working on while you're out there? Do you remember?
I do. I started and finished, let's see. I know I came away with 3 complete songs and 3 that were half songs. And I wrote Sharpshooter, like 99% of it there. The only thing I had was the very first like guitar melody. I wrote Words there. And Fight Me was the other one that I did there lyrically. So I wrote 3 entire, vocals, lyrics, melody, and the music for those 3 songs. And what else did I do there? I'd probably have to look at the list of songs. But those ones stood out the most because I was like, wow, I wrote 3 full songs in 4 days. Like that for me is like a really huge accomplishment.
I wrote a Bond theme with Sharpshooter, no less. But
yeah.
Talk to me about your process. Like, how do you usually, from a musical standpoint, not necessarily lyrics and stuff like that, were you using Ableton Live, or what program are you using to put stuff together?
Yeah, I use Ableton Live, and what I've found that works really well for me is I will set aside some time to just mess around with a particular instrument, which if it's a keyboard, then you have a million sounds that you can mess with and tweak and everything. And usually something will strike me like, oh, this is a cool sound, or I'll just be messing around and come up with an interesting melody, and then I will find a sound that goes with it, and I'll just record that a little piece and then put it away. Usually, because it's harder for me to feel inspired and have something and then continue and build it bigger and bigger, just all in one sitting. Like that's really hard for me. So like Sharpshooter is a perfect example. I had found a semi-real sounding guitar, sounded like kind of like a hollow body guitar that sounded semi-real if I just used one note at a time. And just messed around on the keyboard and wrote this little like line, a couple melody, like guitar melody that just kind of sounded like to me initially I was like, oh, it sounds almost like a surf rock song, and I don't know what I will do with it, but I like it. It's something. And then when I was in the RV, I went through some of those clips. So then when I'm feeling like going one step further, I start getting out the clips and seeing like, does anything inspire me again or some more? Or can I start hearing a vocal melody? Or does this song make me think? I think that's what happened with Sharpshooter, is that I heard that and was like, okay, this is actually kind of going along with the theme of what I have already decided I want to write, which was a Bond theme. But it wasn't just that. It was more that that I was reading the Dark Tower series at the time. I was in the middle of it when I was in the RV. And I was feeling really inspired by it and tying it into some of my own experiences. And so when I pulled up that clip, it was like, well, that's kind of, the Dark Tower is kind of like a Westernish theme to it. And I already knew I wanted to do a sort of a Bond theme. So everything just sort of fell into place just from having that one little clip. And so, yeah, it's fortunate for me when things work out like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the song definitely lends itself to a Bond theme. It also definitely lends itself to being like a showdown song of like when you mentioning the Dark Tower and having some conflict happen there makes total sense.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and I hadn't really heard about it. I haven't heard that many people that get inspired by like a tiny little chunk of music, but that's really cool that you like leave little nuggets for yourself. Maybe they'll still come back and be something else eventually, but that's really awesome.
Yeah, or like another one is Stay Dead. I started with that drum beat that was made of horror movie sound effects. I didn't know when I wrote it whether I would turn it into a song or not, but I just wrote a piece of, percussion, and then figured later I'd return to it, see if any notes pop out to me or anything, or where would I even take this next. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I go back to listen to one and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Oh, Pie, that's the other one that I wrote in the RV.
Oh, nice.
That one was definitely an RV song. That one, I initially had a completely different keyboard sound. That's one thing that's so great about songwriting technology and, using Ableton Live and MIDI and keyboards. I had a different sound on it that I ended up really disliking, and I just replaced it and was like scrolling through sounds until I found one that seemed good, and it ended up being that, that very first thing you hear on Pi is like that bassy, weird, like round bass type thing.
Yeah, it's got more beeps and boops to it than you would expect from like a keyboard, but it's really awesome. I really like it a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I love all your practical sound effects that you kind of sneak into the mixes, like the typewriter from Sour Sorrow, and of course you touched on like the chains from Stay Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you take like those little snippets and kind of sneak them in there.
Thank you. That's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. Have you ever gone like full producer mode where you just like don't even touch an instrument and you just go directly into Ableton Live and start putting stuff together, or do you always have to have an instrument with you?
I need to have a keyboard. Is that what you're talking about? Like just not even a MIDI keyboard. Yeah, I definitely need to have something like tactile to do the music. Even when I'm doing the drums, I have like a pad, like a little drum pad that I hook up to it, and that just seems to work better for me. Although I do sometimes definitely get in with the pencil and write some stuff in place.
Mm. And how do you visualize the music? How do you like arrange it? Do you just kind of feel it out naturally? Do you like tinker around and like play loops and stuff like that? Like what's the process of you kind of, really put it together so that it feels like a really holistic piece?
It definitely depends on where I am in the process. I use all of those tactics. I definitely loop stuff. If I have a beat and I'm looking for, what instrument or what kind of melody do I want on it, I will do a lot of looping just to to try different things and see what seems to stick. Usually though, for the very first thing, I just am messing around. Like there's no real visualization of the music. It's more messing. Huh?
Exploration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's more just seeing what happens when I sit down to write something.
Makes sense. And you had a lot of help with Bob, the producer Bob Hogue, helping you on the record, and he kind of took your demos and stepped them up to be something even more awesome.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the things that Bob did to bring to make the songs even more awesome than they already were?
Yeah, he added. So Bob is he's a record producer and he works in studio. But his first musical intro was he was mainly a drummer. So he was a drummer in bands and toured and did that for a long time. So he's naturally very drum centric, and he added a lot of. I was open to him adding live drums to the record, but I did not realize how awesome it was going to make it. I mean, live drums are great, But I think maybe because I am not a drummer, I just didn't think like, oh, this song needs drums and this song needs drums. And as we were recording, it was like every song that we came to, he'd be like, this one needs live drums. And then I'm like, okay, try it, try something. And of course it would be super awesome. And then the next song we come to, he'd be like, I'm kind of thinking live drums on this.
Gotta have more cowbell. Just need more cowbell.
Yeah, it kind of got to be pretty comical because it just like I starting out, he was like, oh yeah, we'll put live drums on a handful of songs, maybe 2 or 3 songs. And then it ended up being 10 out of 11 songs. And he nearly wanted to put drums on I'll Picture You as well. Until he really like paid attention to the lyrics and I told him the story kind of behind the lyrics. Then he was like, okay, no drums on this one. This one is the non-drums song.
The ballad. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I was blown away by some of the contributions, especially I think the one that surprised me the most was Stay Dead. And I think that's probably because it was already, it had already been released and, mixed and mastered and released. And of course, he did a number of things to it to make it sound more full and more awesome. But the drums, I just didn't expect that they would bring such a heaviness to the song that I love so much. And there's 2 other things for me to mention about drums. There's something about the drums on Words that also blew me away. And like every time the live drums come in, it's like, it just hits me like, wow, this is so awesome. I just feel so grateful that I got to do this and that I had someone like Bob working on my record and he enhanced it so much with his talent. And then I think one of my favorite parts of the entire record is his drum solo in Sharpshooter.
Mm.
And he just like went in there. I mean, he's an amazing drummer. So he was always doing things that were great, but he went in there and formulated this solo. And he had hired an additional, like most of the time it was just the 2 of us in the studio. There were no other engineers or anyone helping with anything. But that day he had hired another engineer so that he could record and that someone could run Pro Tools for him, which I could have done if I was more Pro Tools familiar, but I'm not, so I didn't. So he has also an analog board and the computer, and they work together. He's got his effects coming through the analog board, and he has an actual plate reverb. So it's like metal plates that
oh wow,
that like reverberate,
right.
And you can run the sound through them, and they do their thing. And so when he was doing that Sharpshooter drum solo, we didn't realize, I was in the control room with the engineer, and he's like, okay, ready. And then we start recording. That plate reverb was like set to 100%. And it was like, we're listening back, Bob's just going ham in there, and we're listening back to it. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, this sounds like there's, explosions happening right outside the door. Like, it's like there's some sort of crazy battle going on. It sounded nuts. And we, the engineer and I were both like, oh, wow, that's something. And and Bob was like, he finished the take and he's like, was that all right? Was that good? And we were like, yeah, I guess. I mean, kind of hard to tell, but yeah, maybe you should come in here and check it out. And it was like he did not, he had no idea that was on, and that both of us were thinking, wow, this sounds this sounds not good. It's not good.
Sounds like a bunch of trash cans being pushed together. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It was so ridiculous. So it was pretty funny when we all realized like that was just turned up, and we didn't know, and Bob didn't know, and it turned out awesome.
I didn't know that Animal was guest appearing.
Yes, that's what it sounded like.
That's right.
And I was just sitting there thinking, wow, but he thinks this is what he's going for. This is way beyond what I was expecting for this drum solo.
Write the most offensive, loudest thing ever and make sure that be like, what do you think? Is it awesome? Yeah.
Yeah. I was having a lot of feelings at that moment.
It was all a test.
What do I say? What am I going to tell him? I can't leave it like that.
It's a litmus test for how much you trust him or how much you have to speak up and be like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It was great.
So what songs are you most proud of on the record, and why?
Oh, that's a tough question. Well, okay. I think that Words, Words, Words is one of my top achievements, and that's because I've always felt like it was a very weird song. Like as I was writing it, I was doing things that I was thinking, I don't know if this is not normal. But I'm just going to do it anyway. I kind of like it. And there are ideas musically that I threw in there that I didn't think would work. And when I brought all of these songs to the studio, that was the one that I was like, Bob's going to cut this song. He's going to hear this and be like, what is this? And he actually, like, while we were listening to it, he did have that look on his face. And after it was over, he was like, okay, well, we've got some work to do. And so I really thought that he was going to scrap the whole thing or completely change it. And he did. We changed it, the arrangement of it a lot, but we kept most all of it. And I've come to realize that it seems like it's mainly me who just thinks that it's so weird of a song, because I think most people who listen to songs aren't thinking about the structure or, the notes that are involved or the way that the words fit together. I don't think people are thinking about it like that. They're just listening to it and enjoying it or not,
Yeah, I definitely noticed that it's a different arrangement compared to what you usually do. Like when I listen to Queens of the Stone Age, like they're very notorious for having like really wacky arrangements that it's like, I don't know how this song works, but it does. And cool. I think Words, Words definitely is a song where it's like, I wouldn't expect this one to work, but it does. And the melody and like the pacing of the song are very unique. And yeah, I think it just works for what it is because you committed to it. So
yeah. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm also pretty proud of Sharpshooter because I set out to create a Bond theme and stuck with it, and that's what I did, and I feel like it came out pretty well.
I agree.
Thanks.
There's also some really cathartic songs on the record, very therapeutic, if you will, from writing them, I'm guessing. What songs have been the most cathartic for you to write, either on this album or in the past, like in terms of just like expressing yourself?
Definitely Sour Sorrow was like my number one cathartic, I think. I wish I had a list of the tracks in front of me. But that one definitely springs to mind when we're talking about cathartic lyrics. When I hear it now, or if I think about those lyrics, I definitely feel cringy and I, like I still have those feelings inside me. But writing the song definitely helped, and I don't experience that very often. Or if I do, it's usually like an angry song. I feel like a lot of times my songs are more angry, the ones that are cathartic, which is great, and I enjoy writing angry songs. That song was just like the most like gut-wrenching feelings, and I didn't enjoy writing it. And hearing it back, I was just like, I did feel like this will resonate with some people, because I'm sure other people, I'm not the only person in the world who's ever had these feelings, and someone will understand it and appreciate it. But it definitely it just feels so vulnerable to put those kind of lyrics out there, because it's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, I definitely relate to it. I had a falling out with a friend somewhat recently, and the lyrics are, hit me dead center in the chest in terms of just like how much they mean to me and how they make me feel. Yeah, definitely relate to them for sure.
Like the feeling of I think the thing that was the hardest about it and about writing it is the feeling of being like, I should be over this by now. I should be over this, and like your logical brain is like, get over this. Just get over it. It's not a big deal and it's over. But there's like just something keeping you from getting over it. And it's so frustrating, because it's like all you want to do is get over it.
Right.
And you just can't.
And then you're writing lyrics and kind of screaming into the lyrics of like, I want to get over this, and I want to move on from it and have it be something else. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm legitimately, I legitimately feel embarrassed that I'm still not over this. It's been a long time.
Yeah. There's no timeline or like, set number of minutes or hours or days that the healing process happens. It just happens when it happens, and everybody's journey is different. I mean, it happens with grief and loss. Like if you lose a parent or, a loved one, there's no set amount of time that, it takes you to heal or just get over it. So
totally.
Yeah. Not to bring the room down.
No, it's great. It's great to recognize. And definitely, like I said, writing the song, it did make me feel some sort of a release, which is great.
It's awesome. And so many amazing music videos from the process as well.
Yeah.
Now there's an entire MCU thanks to the Motivated Mind group. Can you talk about the collaborative process of working with them and how awesome it was?
Yeah, it's been super amazing working with MMG. The way that the process worked was we had to decide which songs to do in what order. And so we started out with Blood Perfume and sent them the song to see what they thought of it, see if it inspired any ideas in them. And they're a whole team of creative people who are visually inclined and, have all these filming resources. So it worked out exactly how I had hoped it would, where they knew what they were doing. They had a vision. They actually sent for most of the videos, they sent 2 treatments ideas. Like, here's one thing we thought of that we sort of built out, and here's another thing we thought of that we sort of built out. Which one are you leaning towards? Which one sounds more like what you're going for, or what would fit your, persona or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little bit of collaboration in that way. But mainly they would send me treatments, and I just was so excited about the prospect of, oh wow, they listened to Blood Perfume and they want to do a horror, like a short horror film for it, where I'm the murderer. So yes, please sign me up for that. That sounds like a ton of fun. And it was, and they're super fun to work with, super creative. It was awesome to see what they would do with camera shots, camera angles, effects, like they're very talented. And I loved the whole thing. And I loved working with a team. Like, I think the most fulfilling and gratifying thing was to be like, here's what I did. I wrote the song and finished it, and I'm happy with it. What will you, MMG, do with this song? Like, what do you see for this song? And they took it to another level. Basically, they took what I did and improved on it, and that was just so much fun to watch and to be part of.
Yeah, I love it. It's almost like the it has very like Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes to it, but I guess in this case it's the Arizona Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Arizona Sledgehammer Massacre.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. And then the other ones that you shot as well were just super awesome. Lady Neptune, where you're more or less like reenacting your own personal Grand Theft Auto and becoming a drug dealer.
Yes.
Yeah,
so much fun.
I think Pie is my favorite just because you're super unhinged and you're just filming like a a stir and smile cooking segment that just goes sideways and just goes off the rails completely, which is super fun.
Yeah, so much fun. That's another thing, is that I got to they were really fun to work with as far as acting, because I haven't done a lot of acting, and I'm a musician, I'm not an actor, so it was really fun to just to see what that was like, and to take direction from them, and they're saying like, okay, get Pie was a lot of fun, because it was just like getting unhinged, like you said, just like smearing pie all over my face, or whatever we ended up doing at the end of that video. Was just
tearing off one of your nails and throwing it in a thing, which I didn't notice that until you mentioned it. I'm like, that's super disturbing. Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, that was actually my idea, and everyone on set was really disturbed by it. Like, they were actually like, oh. I'm like, it doesn't hurt, guys, it was fine.
There's something with nails, like first you have Stay Dead, where you have it the single for the picture for the single is like that's your nail that like broke or whatever, right?
Yeah, that was a real nail that broke off.
Ouch.
Yeah, that one didn't hurt either, actually. It just looked really disturbing.
Good times. I was really stoked to have as many music videos as part of the process that you did, just because, like, thinking back to like the early days of what I know you from is from Tsunami Bomb. I can't tell you how many times I saw the Dawn on a Funeral Day video, and even as silly as it is, of you running away from a hearse and dropping papers, like, I'm there for the music, and so having a visual component to the music as well is super awesome, and getting 4 videos for your brand new album is just so super awesome. And so now you've added more iconic images and visual metaphors to what the songs are already, to just further enrich the experience. And it's super awesome. I love that you're able to collaborate on that kind of stuff. So
thank you. I agree. I love that I've had that opportunity, and super grateful for MMG and also for Double Helix, for setting all that up and making it happen.
Totally. Actually, do you want to talk about your relationship with Double Helix and like why it's unique and special?
Yeah. Yeah. Double Helix approached me initially because their logo was designed by my brother Logan, who had brain cancer and passed away over a decade ago. Double Helix was restarting their label, because Jeff from Double Helix knew my brother, back in the day, and had asked him to design their logo. And then the label, he stopped running the label for a while. Like, the label kind of shut down. And a few years ago, he decided to restart the label again, and contacted me just to make sure that it would be okay to use that artwork still. Which of course I was, my family is fine with that. Right. And stoked about it, because I know Logan would be too. And then we just got to talking, and Jeff had been familiar with Tsunami Bomb back then as well, and asked what I was up to, and I told him Survival Guide, told him I'm writing, and and he was kind of like, well, let's do something together. And we just kept talking over time, and I went out and met him and M, who is the other owner of Double Helix.
No relation.
No relation to me. And we just really hit it off. They're super awesome people who love music and want to see as much good music get out to the world as possible. That is their goal. So I was like, I don't know why I wouldn't release something with this label that has such a good I want to say mantra. That's not quite right. It's such a good
ethos, or
yes.
Mantra works too, but
yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I love that there's other awesome independent artists on there. I love that the lead singer of Authority Zero is part of their.
Jason.
Yeah, I collaborated with him as well. I'm a huge fan of his voice.
Yeah, he's a great singer.
So you're an independent artist, and you have this awesome indie label with you as well, but you're not without facing your own personal challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face as an independent artist that pretty much anybody would bump into right now, if they're in the music industry?
I feel like the biggest thing that I'm currently struggling with is, my record came out. I think it's awesome, but how do I get more people to hear it? Mm-hmm. Even with the label, it's like we sent out to college radio. We had various methods of getting it out there, and it has not made as much of an impact as I would have hoped. So, I mean, I guess I'm here doing an interview with you. So that's
You're still promoting. Yes.
Still promoting. Yes, definitely. It's not over or anything, but it's like, what do I do next? How do I keep it going? How do I get more people, if my song is not viral on social media, what are the other ways? And I have Patreon, I have Twitch, but I'm not sure what else there is out there.
Yeah, it's the almighty algorithm is the hardest thing to crack for sure. And as much as we'd all love to say that, became overnight successes on TikTok or something, it just not in the cards. So finding an audience when the attention economy is so spread out, where back in the day where it's like, I mean, people know about Tsunami Bomb because they were at a show, and then you guys toured relentlessly for a long time, but like hitting the reset button on your bands with Action Design, and then again on Survival Guide, like people have to know who you are and know of your music. But I think it's awesome anytime you grab new fans, of course, as Survival Guide, just because they're into what you're making now, which is the latest and greatest, most awesome stuff. So,
thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of an unanswerable question, and I think that the only thing I can do is try to come at it from all sides.
Definitely.
For me, I don't know what I would say to other artists, but for me, it's like I'm going to try to play more shows. I'm going to try to post more. I need to get more of a presence on TikTok, as you know.
I can't talk just because like I'm so lazy with TikTok. So yeah, I definitely feel you there. So,
but it's like it's who knows what will happen and what's the best way to do things. There isn't one way.
Do you have any other goals or aspirations for 2024?
Those are my main ones. Definitely playing more shows, because I have been neglecting that. And yeah, I've already started with finally getting some more merch going, some more merch designs. I'm excited for 2024. It's like I've been so busy getting the album, first getting it written and getting it recorded and then just getting it out. That now that it's out, I feel like I can finally actually get organized and be in a good position to support it and just to perform and do more and support that album.
Absolutely. I mean, and not to sweep the accomplishments of Death Dreams under the rug, but are you already thinking about the next thing already as a musician?
I do feel like I should start writing because I'm a very slow songwriter, as you know. So I for sure have started. I haven't actually started writing, but I have started thinking about song subjects, and sometimes things will pop into my head like, oh, I should write a song about that. And so yeah, before too long, I will start doing some writing sessions again.
I was going to say, assuming you had another RV like planned trip or something like starting tomorrow, like what approach would you take to writing the new album? Like what goals would you want to accomplish? Like what are the things that you would try to set out to do now that you kind of have this accomplishment of having Death Dreams under your belt?
Yeah. I would like to, I think I will probably start out in a similar manner and start by just messing around and recording some snippets. But that being said, I do want to learn how to play ukulele, and I'm always thinking to incorporate a different instrument on a song that I have never used before is pretty cool. I'd like to play more guitar, even though I already have decided I don't want to be a guitar player. Like I don't.
You're a pretty good bassist.
Oh, thank you. When I tried guitar, I took a guitar lesson, and then I was practicing for a little bit, and it was like I just don't. It's not that enjoyable to me. And it seems obvious that it would take me. Like I really need to be dedicated because I need to build up some calluses to even be able to make chords. And I need to keep my fingernails extremely short, like as short as they will possibly go, which I kind of think they won't go short enough is part of what my problem is. I was trying to ask my guitar teacher, I'm like, but look, it won't go. Like it's cut. I can't cut my nail anymore unless I want it to bleed. So I kind of was just like, you know what? I should just focus more on becoming a better bass player. But that being said, I want to incorporate more guitar, like weird, played more like a bass, like more single notes or just two notes and just, completely unconventionally mess with guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I have thought of that I specifically want to try for some new songs, or at least one new song.
Right. And if you're just noodling around on stuff, then you can definitely just, hunt and peck and find stuff that actually sounds and works for what you're looking for. So
totally. I don't have to have like all four. I don't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Awesome. So before we take off, since this is your second outing on the show, I have two fun questions for you, and these are very indicative of what Mad Cat would. So for context, I'm one of M's mods in her community on Twitch, and there's one person that joins named Mad Cat, who throws some of the most awesome scenarios and/or questions at M all the time, just naturally, which is a plug for why you need to go watch M on Twitch.
Yeah, you never know what he's gonna challenge me with.
Yeah, even though I'm always shaking my head, I secretly respect him for always throwing crazy scenarios. So I have two crazy scenarios for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Do you want the scary one that doesn't require a lot of thought, or do you want the fun one that requires a lot of thought first? Which one do you want first?
Let's do the scary one first.
Okay. So the zombie apocalypse is happening, and the people responsible for your survival guide are past band members. Who would you want on your zombie survival team to help you fight the undead? So these are all people that are past band members.
Yeah.
Who are the people that you have on your team? A total of 4, including you.
4, including me. Okay. Let's see. I would definitely.
Also, what kind of weapon would you want? That's the other
Ooh.
question.
Okay. I would definitely pick both Matt and Jason, who were in the action design,
Mhm.
and Jason was in Survival Guide. They're both, like, just off the top of my head, that's an immediate, because they're both really resourceful, and innovative just in life and not just in music. And ready for whatever is thrown at them.
Right.
For a fourth person, let's see. Fourth person. I'm not sure. I've had
Doug?
so many. I've had various. Oh, does Doug count?
You can use Doug, might as well. I mean, unofficially.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I had the option to use Doug, he was our tour manager for
There you
Tsunami
go.
Bomb, and he was around for most of that stuff. I feel like that's cheating though, because he wasn't actually in the band. So let's see. I feel like I have to come up with somebody. It can't just be a 3-person team.
All right.
Plus Doug. Doug will be the bonus member.
Unless you want to sacrifice one of your team members to the zombies already and just say you lost one. Yeah.
Just let someone feed the zombies so the 3 of us can get away.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, maybe I would choose, like, because I already have Matt and Jason from action design, I might as well bring Jake along, because we all got along really well. I mean, you want, if it's the zombie apocalypse, you're going to want people that you get along with and that don't aggravate you or rub you the wrong way, which is kind of impossible even with people that you really enjoy spending time with. So that group of people is definitely a really strong group that was definitely the strongest group of people that I ever was in a band with. So Jake, what's one thing about Jake that's good is that he does not care about eating. Like, he doesn't care of what he eats. He's like, food is just a sustenance to me. Like, it doesn't have to be special or anything. So that is one plus, is that he would be like very accepting of whatever our food situation was. He wouldn't be complaining that he couldn't get his specific type of mac and cheese that he always ate.
Yeah,
or something.
all the cans of dog food that you find go to him, I guess.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And my weapon.
Your weapon.
My weapon. That's a really tough question, because you wouldn't want it to be something that has ammo, or would you? That's really tough. Like, if you have a gun, it seems like it'd be really effective, but you have to, what they don't show in movies is that there's not an unlimited supply of ammo.
Right.
You'd be spending a lot of your time just looking for ammo.
Yep.
And if you had a bow and arrow, that would be really great, except that you'd have to retrieve your arrows. It's great in the silent way, because I would not alert any zombies to your presence. But you'd have to learn how to make arrows or have the ability to retrieve the ones that you lost.
Right.
So I don't know. I kind of think I might choose a samurai sword.
Nice.
Like Michonne from Walking Dead.
Nice.
Because it is silent, but it's also, it's not like it's a short knife where, it's got at least some length on it to where you don't have to be super close to a zombie to kill it.
Yeah. You can dismember them or decapitate them pretty easily from far away.
Yeah. It's at least somewhat far. It's farther than having like a cleaver or something.
Right. Where you have to get up and close and personal and be in biting distance. Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, I can't think of another, aside from maybe a spear, which would be more way more clunky, way more difficult to use
Right.
than a sword. Like it seems like the longest. I don't know. Tell me if you think of something else.
Well,
But
I
a
was
samurai
gonna,
sword, it's like has a good reach, you know?
yeah, I was going to say a broadsword, but you don't strike me as a broadsword person. You strike me as like a more compact samurai sword person.
It would have to be light. It would have to be a light, something light and quick.
Yeah, something light, quick, and sharp.
Yes.
So I think that's the winner.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great. Now I know. I should just go ahead and get one now.
All right. Second question. This is a more nerdy one. So you're Frodo, and you're putting together the Fellowship of the Ring, but instead of dropping the one ring into the Mount Dune to destroy Sauron, you're going to go create the greatest album that's ever been written. So you're Frodo, which means there's 8 other people that are part of your Fellowship of the Ring. So who are those 8 other people with you to write the most epic album of all time? So
wow.
These can be throwaway musicians. These can be past musicians that you've worked with, people you've always wanted to work with, people that you would use once on one song and that's it. You have 8 other people to choose from. Who do you pick?
Wow. Wowie. Wow. That's a lot of people. Let's see. I would pick I mean, it's hard not to just want to pick people that I've already worked with that I worked well with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would at this stage, well, and also because I don't want to, you know, take like 1 hour to answer your question.
Sure. Which I realized, and after saying 8 people, it can definitely take an hour to respond.
Yeah, easily, especially like a dream situation, you know, like if it could be anyone, any person, that's a lot of options. I think I would pick I would pick Bob right off the bat just because of how awesome our experience was working on Death Dreams. I think I would like to write at least some of this with Jason again, because I really do like, he's my favorite guitar player that I've ever worked with, and is very innovative and has interesting creative ideas. I would have Dolly Parton on this.
Nice.
For sure.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Do I need to like have context on what she would do? No.
Only if you feel like it.
I feel like she's an amazing songwriter. Is so impressive. Like suddenly there's like gnats everywhere. I'm really impressed with her catalog and the amount of things that she's done over the years. I would love to write a song with her. That would be amazing. Let's see. I got 5 more. Well, I would also, I mean, why not throw Lana in there? You know, throw Lana Del Rey in there.
I was wondering if you're going to pick that one. That was one I was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, I like lyrically, I would love to pick her brain and see what she does. Like, how does she do it? And is it serious? Is it and just, yeah, that would be super fun. For me, at least.
Sure.
Who else?
Any other musicians or any other people that you want to collaborate with?
Let's get Josh Freese on drums.
Nice.
Because I don't think I've never seen anyone better than Josh Freese, and watching him play drums really impacted me a lot. I was just very, very impressed by, as is everyone else in the world, whenever they see or listen to him play drums.
Since he's obviously now the new Foo Fighters drummer. Yeah.
Yeah. I just realized I should throw Danny Elfman in there.
Nice.
Because
that's an excellent pick.
I would love to work with him like that, you know, this is turning out really fun. Okay. Who else? How many? I need 2 more.
You need 2 more. Yeah.
2 more.
Yeah. So you have Lana Del Rey, Dolly Parton, Danny Elfman. Those are all really good picks. Any other?
Josh Freese,
Josh Freese,
Bob, and
Bob.
Jason.
And Jason, yeah.
Let's see, two more. But I've got guitar, I've got drums, I've got some multi-instrumentalists, some lyricists.
A bassist or a keyboardist, maybe, or maybe another singer.
Maybe. I feel like I should get another. Yeah, it's gonna start taking too long because I'm like imagining like another composer in there. I've got Danny Elfman, but like it'd be so cool to have some sort of like actual like a classical composer who could
like in Alive or Dead. Like we're talking like in a Dead scenario composer or like living composer.
Oh no, I didn't even think about that. I've only been thinking of living people.
Yeah, I was thinking of only living people too, but that's why I was questioning. I was like, is she thinking about like going chase after like Mozart or something?
No, I don't think I would do that. I think I would want somebody who composes. I mean, that's the problem is that I don't know a specific, person aside from Danny Elfman. Maybe like that's what I was gonna say. Maybe John Williams. Maybe get John Williams in there. To put together some. Oh, I know, Bjork.
Nice.
Bjork is a for sure. She's an innovator. I would love to see what she does in the studio. And
you got one more.
I would like to choose Timbaland.
Timbaland?
Yes, Timbaland, nice. The producer.
Nice.
Yes, let's get him in there. I did his masterclass. I don't remember if I mentioned that to you before.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did his masterclass a while ago. That was like the first thing that I did when I was like, I need to learn. I need to write. I need to write songs by myself. I need to commit to writing songs by myself. So I watched his masterclass and he just seems so cool. And it was really awesome to see his process. And just like other when you see into the process of a musician, and it's like entertaining and also impressive, and you can just see the gears working in their mind and they just know exactly what they're doing. That's how I felt about him. And he just seems like he'd be really fun to work with as well.
Yeah, he's full of so much energy, and just like seeing like all the unique beats that he's done over the years, like yeah, he would be so much fun to work with for sure. I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, man, that's such an awesome team. I love that question.
Let's go do it.
It was daunting at first, but now I'm like, yes, this is a life goal.
Now you have your own fellowship. That's awesome. Cool. Well, Em, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again.
Yes, thank you.
Promote Death Dreams. Would you like to plug anything before we take off? Social media sites, cool things happening in your life. The floor is yours.
Yes, I would like to. Well, I need some. The more I mention it, the more I hold myself accountable to creating my cocktail recipe book. I'm going to be doing a cocktail book that corresponds with Death Dreams. So it's going to be, I think, I have not finalized this, but I think it's going to be called Death Drinks. And nice. Each song on the record will have its own cocktail, and it's very close to being done recipe wise, which is like the biggest hurdle to jump for that project. So it just needs like a little bit of fine tuning and finishing it all up and getting photos and all of that stuff. But that's the next thing, the next like official thing on my plate, aside from just booking more shows and trying to do more in general as Survival Guide.
But if people wanted to catch you live, check you out on Twitch, if they want to see your website and everything and all your links and everything, SRVVG, or sorry, what is it again? It's Survival Guide.
Yes, it's Survival Guide without vowels, so it's SRVVLGD.
Thank you.
And also you can find me all around as Survival Guide Music. Some of my handles on definitely come by. People should come by Twitch, and request a song. We hang out. You can hear a dilemma from Mad Cat. I'll play a song. I'll play your pan flute request, bad pan flute jams. I've got a magic 8-ball that we ask. We get answers from the universe from.
I feel like we should add like a new wacky instrument to your repertoire. Have you ever played an automaton before? Do you know what
No, but they look like so much fun. I saw that one was on sale during Black Friday. I nearly bought it.
I think we need to get you one. It's gonna happen.
That's a good idea. Actually, in reorganizing my studio, I also found a kazoo, which doesn't really count, but it's something. It's something. And I plan to learn the ukulele at some time soon in my spare time.
In your copious amounts of spare time. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you again so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on again.
Everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.